Hi everyone, my name is Grover from Audeze. Welcome to another Audio Easter Eggs. Today we're going to be talking about Halo 2 from the Halo Masterchief collection. This obviously is the very famous bridge scene, which for me has a lot of memories. As a kid, this was super epic, and one of the highlights of this game. I remember when this game was released, the day it was released, there was a lot of kids missing from school. I was in middle school, and there was a lot of kids who played hooky to get the new Halo game. The soundtrack, of course, is one of the stars of this game, which you can hear the remastered version of right here. So the positional audio in this game has actually held up really well, and this game was made before we had a lot of Dolby Atmos for video game schemes or other sound particles, things like that. So it was a much less sophisticated technological implementation, but still really well done in terms of being a game with good positional audio. Soundtrack, of course, was also amazing, and as you'll hear coming up here, you can actually switch between the original game and the current version that's been remastered. And one thing you'll notice is that the panning of the audio for the soundtrack and also the positional audio is quite a bit different. So as you can hear, the new soundtrack has quite a bit more bass, it's a lot richer and fuller sounding, so the production has taken a big step up, but also the sound effects themselves, you can hear, have gotten quite a bit of touch up. Again, there's more bandwidth that we have with modern systems in terms of storing the music, in terms of how much music we can store, and also in terms of the digital production techniques, which have just come leaps and bounds. I mean, these games were made back in the still relatively early days of digital audio workstations, so that's made a huge difference, and also the sophistication of how we process the game. So it's a really cool trick to be able to completely port an old game and then be able to switch between it seamlessly like this. This is actually very cool and quite a sophisticated thing to do from a programming and game design standpoint. And I think it really pays off. The new one obviously is very immersive and has very cool sound design and music. It's a really epic experience. And you can hear, of course, then that difference between the old one, which is, you know, very nostalgic, but it's not only that everything is thinner and less substantial sounding and less huge and epic sounding, it's also that it's not as precisely located, and there's certain elements of the soundtrack, like strings, that are hard panned left and right and not mixed as gracefully or elegantly as modern soundtracks might be, with tricks like reverb or Dolby Atmos or other panning tricks that we have nowadays to help us take a mix and make it a little bit more invisible, to increase the separation between the sound design and the soundtrack, and to pull the soundtrack a little more out of frame. And mixing music so that it sounds sort of out of frame in games is a really good way of helping you to be put more in the action, because you don't want the sounds to sound as if they, the sounds in the soundtrack to sound as if they are coming from some location within the game. So that's a very difficult thing to accomplish when you have fairly limited bandwidth as the original games did. So this is a huge, obviously, leap forward, but it's really cool to be able to see how that's changed and to be able to switch between those two on the fly. And not just have it be a reskinning, but in fact be the original game that you're switching between, as well as the new game with the new soundtrack, new sound effects, all of that sort of stuff. So very cool opportunity to get to experience both Halos and see how far the sound design and the soundtrack and the sound mixing and post-production has come in the ensuing years between the original game and the current release. That's another audio Easter egg from all of us here at Audeze. We really hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please feel free to comment, subscribe, all of that great stuff.